Dear Sir Isaac Newton, it was me who wrote that letter. I was 8 years old and I was writing to Sir Isaac Newton, because I had heard he could explain everything. And I wanted to know why the moon changes shape every night. And I also wanted to know if it was cheese or wax. Turns out neither. The moon does change shape. It just doesn't do it every night. It takes about 27 days for the moon to go from new moon to full moon to new moon again. That's how long it takes the Earth to go around the moon one time. So if you know what time it is now, and you want to know what the moon will look like later, just add 27 days. Then subtract that many hours from the time now, and look that up on the moon chart. And you'll see what the moon will look like then. And also, by the way, it isn't wax, and it isn't cheese. The moon is rock. It's just a big ball of rock floating in the sky. Don't you wish you had a giant ball of rock floating in your backyard? Well, you do. Every single one of you watching right now has a giant ball of rock floating in their backyard. You just can't see it. You see, the moon is really far away. If the moon were as close as my ball is, it would be bigger than the entire Earth. In fact, it would cover the whole sky. So when you look up at the moon, you're actually looking down at the Earth from the moon. And most of the time, the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. We call that a lunar eclipse. But sometimes, the moon casts a shadow on the Earth. We call that a solar eclipse. When that happens, it gets dark as night in the middle of the day. I think eclipses are scarier than boring old Tuesdays. But then again, I think all days are boring except for Tuesday. Tuesdays are the best. Anyway, I got a letter back from Sir Isaac Newton. He didn't answer my question about the moon being cheese or wax. But he did say that there are other things in the universe that are made of cheese. I looked everywhere for those, but I couldn't find any. So I asked again, and this time I got a letter from Stephen Hawking. He said, try looking for antimatter. So I tried looking for that, but all I found was more questions. Like, what is antimatter? Is it a rock? What is a rock? What is anything? When I was 12, I decided to become a scientist. I went to college, and I studied really hard. I wanted to understand the universe so I could explain it to little kids. I wanted to know what makes the moon and not something else. I wanted to know what makes anything anything. Well, I got my answers. I learned that everything in the universe is made of tiny vibrating strings. These strings are so small we can't see them. They're about 1 trillion times smaller than a proton. And these strings vibrate in different ways. When they vibrate slow, you get a bowling ball. When they vibrate fast, you get a duck. Yes, everything is made of vibrating strings, even you. You're just a bunch of strings vibrating in a particular way. Those strings, they make up the protons and neutrons inside the nucleus of an atom. And those protons and neutrons, they make up the protons and neutrons inside the nucleus of an atom. And those atoms, they make up the protons, neutrons and electrons in the nucleus of an atom. And those cells, well, they make up you. So you really aren't anything. You're just a bunch of tiny vibrating strings pretending to be a person. That sounds kind of sad, doesn't it? Well, it isn't. I mean, yeah, sure, we're all just a bunch of vibrating strings, but so is the moon. So is the Earth. So is the entire universe. We're all here together. We're all in this together. And that means no matter how alone you feel, no matter how small you feel, you are part of everything. And everything is part of you. Everything is connected. And that's pretty cool. So next time you look up at the moon, just remember that you are part of the moon, and the moon is part of you. We're both made of the same stuff, just vibrating differently. And that stuff, by the way, it isn't cheese. Thank you.